Hi, and welcome back to the fourth intelligent conversation in the series From Real to the Reality, Learn, Love, Live. And the title of this conversation is Driving Forces of the Mind, Love and Hate, etc. From the last conversation titled The Authority of Me, Is There a God? We've concluded that religion refers to this all-powerful force of creation as God. Philosophy calls the same power of creation as consciousness or that. And science says that it is a unified field of creativity and activity. We've also concluded that you and I, because of the lack of knowledge of a prior existence, you and I, being an intellectual entity, we have resolved that I am the authority of me. And this authority of me, because of the activity from the body and the activity in the mind space, it has resolved that it is the body and it is the mind. If you have joined us for this conversation and not watched the other three conversations, I suggest you to please watch the other three conversations, as each conversation logically leads into each other. Now, coming back to the topic, driving forces of the mind, love and hate, etc. In the last three conversations, we have learned that the creation, the mind and the body are of the nature of expansion. In other words, creation is a never-ending process of creativity. And the body too is a never-ending process of learning, adapting and evolving. But when it comes to the mind, it is slightly different. Yes, the mind is continuously learning and it is continuously adapting. But in humans, having a very strong individual identity or the authority of me, we can choose to either expand this learning or, not knowingly, we can also contract. In other words, we can choose to expand and evolve or contract and devolve. Before I go into the choices that allows us to expand and the choices that make us contract, in the last conversation, we made mention that the individual identity or the authority of me is the self-motivator of the mind and the self-motivator of the action and movement of the body. In other words, the mind and the body are instruments in the hands of the authority of me. And this authority of me, which has come about from not knowing its true nature, needs to use the mind and body to expand its personality. We all know that the two most powerful emotions in humans that can make us or break us is love and hate. And when I choose to love, in other words, when I have resolved to love, it means that I have shifted my center from me, from my body, and from my mind to the beloved. And this beloved could be a thing or a person. And this love I speak of is selfless love, unconditional love, independent, self-sustaining love. No return is expected. Before we move on, I just want to clarify one point regarding selfless love and attachment. Selfless love, as I mentioned, is independent love. no return is expected. Attachment is disguised love. A return is expected. And this is an area of confusion for most of us humans. And the more and more selflessly you love things, nature, creation, the more expansive you become, the more expansive your center becomes. In other words, your center is continuously shifting into the expansive. And this center I speak of is the authority of me. In other words, the authority of me becomes expansive. The authority of me slowly dissolves into the expansive. And from a mental and psychological standpoint, wherever the authority of me shifts to, the mind must follow. In other words, the mind too becomes expansive. And we know that evolution is expansion. In other words, the expansion of the authority of me, the expansion of the mind, is the natural process of evolution. And we see some of the selfless love embedded or integrated into our morals, our ethics, our cultural values, our human values in religion and in spirituality. And when this authority of me is convinced by the expansion of this selfless love, it resolves to motivate and drive the mind and body into good thoughts and good selfless actions. This natural expansion of love includes all. It is all inclusive and all embracive. And there's no expectation of anything in return. This is the power of love. And the experience of this ever expanding love expands into other powerful emotions such as humility, compassion, gratitude, expressing as character traits in thought and deed. And when you sum all of this up, you come to realize that evolution is not only about the body and the mind, but it is also about evolving our character. It is about evolving the misidentified and the misunderstood you and I, which is also referred to as the authority of me or the individual identity. Now, the opposite emotion of love, which is hate, as the opposite effect of expansion, which is contraction. In other words, this misidentified authority of me or self-identity centered in the mind and in the body thinks that the world of things and experiences revolves around it, as if everything contracts into it like a whirlpool that sucks everything into it. A powerful sense of ego that thinks that it is the master and the world is its slave. And this kind of attitude will eventually devolve and collapse on itself. Because one, it is too dependent on changing factors, the world of things and itself. And two, it has this expectation that these changing factors should remain the same as per its own vision. The reason why I stressed and dramatized this whole power of hate is to show you that hate is opposite to expansion and opposite to evolution, which is unnatural. And besides being unnatural, it is extremely delusional. And we all know what this power of hate can do in thought, word, and deed. Please remember that these emotions do not act by themselves. You and I have to decide to go with these emotions. In other words, we need to make an intellectual resolve to go with these emotions. And believe it or not, even hate is an intellectual resolve. Over the last few minutes, I've given you enough information on these two powerful driving forces of the mind. But just don't take my word for it. These experiences are the same for all of us, but it comes down to a matter of choice. And please, this is not all doom and gloom. This is about learn, love, and live. It is about taking you from the real to the reality. And thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next conversation titled Resolutions and Intelligent Living in the series From Real to the Reality. Learn, love, live. Thank you. Thank you for listening to another powerful intelligent conversation brought to you by P2 Create. Every creative idea is a potential. These talks are available on YouTube and Facebook. Please search P2 Create. That is P2 Create. Thank you. If you feel that these talks have benefited you in some way and you would like to see more content from me, then please support me by becoming a patron on patreon.com/P2Create. That is patreon.com/P2Create. Thank you for your support.